नमस्कार मित्रों, आप लोगों का सब एक बार आपका सबका एक बार फिर से स्वागत है। विदेश मंत्री जी ने आपको बुद्ध पूर्णिमा की शुभकामनाएं दी हैं। मैं भी अपनी तरफ से उनकी शुभकामनाओं में अपनी शुभकामनाएं मिला के, ख़ासतौर से उन लोगों के लिए जो इसके बाद आए हैं, तो आप सबको बुद्ध पूर्णिमा की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। नाउ वी हैव विद अस टुडे जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी इंडियन ओशन रीजन श्री संजय पांडा. He is here to brief you on the forthcoming visit of the Prime Minister to Sri Lanka. Without further ado, I would request Shri Panda to make his statement.
Good afternoon, friends. Prime Minister will be visiting Sri Lanka tomorrow. It will be a two-day visit from 11th to 12th May to participate as the chief guest at the 14th International Vesak Day celebrations. And he is visiting at the invitation of President Sirisena of Sri Lanka. Vesak, as you all know, is what we refer to in India as Buddha Purnima, is actually considered a triple blessed day. It's a full moon day commemorating the birth, enlightenment, and the passing away of Buddha. It was officially recognized by the United Nations in 1999, and then Sri Lanka had played a very important role in this effort, and India had also supported the Sri Lankan initiative. This is the first time that Sri Lanka is hosting the International Vesak Day, and the theme of the event is Buddhist teachings for social justice and sustainable world peace. There are various religious leaders and political leaders from various countries, especially those with Buddhist traditions, have been invited, and they will be in Sri Lanka for these celebrations. As you know, the relationship between our two countries is over 2,500 years old, and in Sri Lanka, India has a very special place, as Sri Lankans see India as the land of Buddha. They look at India as the land from where Buddhism came to Sri Lanka. I mean, even in various Sri Lankan folklores, you have references to Asoka and how his son and daughter, Mahendra and Sanghamitra, visited Sri Lanka and brought in Buddhism. And that is why this is a very important link between our two countries. Prime Minister's visit to Sri Lanka is for the Vesak Day celebrations assumes significance because this is a reflection of our shared Buddhist heritage, which is spanning over centuries, and also this also reflects the importance that we attach to this relationship, our ties with Sri Lanka. We are keen that the International Vesak Day that Sri Lanka is hosting for the first time is a grand success. Vesak is traditionally celebrated by lighting of lamps and decorative lanterns, as well as illuminating homes and various public space. And Prime Minister is also likely to participate in a lamp lighting ceremony at the well-known Ganga Ramaya temple in Colombo. This will be Prime Minister's second visit to Sri Lanka after the landmark visit in March 2015. If you recall, in March 2015, when he had visited Sri Lanka, apart from Colombo, he also visited Anuradhapura, he visited Jaffna, and Talaimanar. In Anuradhapura, he had paid respects to the holy Sri Mahabodhi tree. On this occasion, apart from participating in the International Vesak Day celebrations in Colombo, Prime Minister will also be visiting Kandy, and where he will pay respects at the Dalada Maligawa, is the temple of tooth relic. He will also seek the blessings of the chief prelates. Thereafter, he is likely to unveil a plaque commemorating the foundation laying of the faculty of Kandyan dance. This is to be constructed in the Sri Lankan Buddhist Academy in Palakkale with Government of India's grant assistance. Prime Minister will also be traveling to upcountry Sri Lanka. This will be the first time that an Indian Prime Minister would be visiting the upcountry, that's the hill country region of Sri Lanka. And that's the area which hosts many tea plantations. Their Prime Minister will be inaugurating a 150-bed multi-speciality hospital in a place called Dikoya. The Dikoya Hospital Complex is a multi-speciality hospital which also has residences of doctors and staff. And this has been built. This has also been built with Government of India assistance of Indian rupee 50 crores. This project is part of our overall development cooperation project, development assistance project, which since 2005 has been up to US dollar 2.6 billion. That has been our commitment, and out of which about US dollar 450 million has been grants. Most inhabitants in this area in the upcountry region are the Indian origin Tamils. They are the descendants of the plantation workers who were brought into Sri Lanka. And these people have very strong family bonds with India, especially with Tamil Nadu. And there's a lot of expectation. They are waiting to receive our Prime Minister in their region. Apart from this, India will participate also with several local events associated with the Vesak Day celebrations. Our celebrated celebrity sand artist Sudarshan Patnaik is already there in Sri Lanka, and he will be making the world's longest sand Buddha statue at a special Vesak zone, which is earmarked near the Parliament building in Sri Lanka. And India is also participating in the International Buddhist Film Festival, which is being organized on the sidelines. Apart from this, something very interesting, that thousands of handcrafted candles made from paraffin wax produced at the world's oldest operating refinery in Digboi has been gifted to Sri Lankan Buddhist temples. Buddhist temples all over Sri Lanka have got these candles. This is something which is commented upon very positively in Sri Lanka and in the media. I would also like to add that given the nature of the visit, that Prime Minister is going as the chief guest for the International Vesak Day celebrations. So we do not envisage any formal meetings or any signing of documents during this visit. However, since Prime Minister is visiting, and he would naturally be interacting with the Sri Lankan leaders on the sidelines of various Vesak Day celebrations. As you all know that our relations in recent years have seen there has been renewed momentum. In fact, I would describe it as a qualitative transformation in our ties with Sri Lanka in recent years. And this has been further perpetuated by the number of exchange of high-level visits that has happened. Apart from Prime Minister's visit in March 2015, there have been several visits by the Sri Lankan President and Prime Minister. And recently, only 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Ranil Wickremesinghe, was here in Delhi. And that was a working visit, but during which we signed a very important memorandum of understanding on cooperation on economic projects. And last week, our Prime Minister had a video conference with the President of Sri Lanka, President Sirisena, following the launch of the SARC satellite. Both countries are working together to strengthen and diversify the relationship, and we are very optimistic as we hope that there will be progress in several areas, particularly in economic cooperation, and as we also look forward to signing the ETCA, the Economic and Technical Cooperation Agreement, which is in an advanced stage. Our approach to Sri Lanka is part of our overall neighborhood first policy, and we feel that we believe that our destinies are somehow intertwined. So that is the importance we attach to this relationship, and we hope Prime Minister's visit will be able to provide further momentum to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sanjay. That was a very comprehensive and succinct view of the forthcoming visit of the Prime Minister. We may now, with your permission, open the floor for a few questions.
Any questions, I'll be very happy to take.
So, fisherman issue is a long-pending issue between Sri Lanka and Tamil Nadu and India. So, during the PM visit, the fishermen talks will be discussed during the visit?
Let's take some questions on.
Can we have
Maybe we can take 2-3 more questions and then we can answer. Ranjit, पीछे उधर. I'll complete this side, then I will come to this side.
India has been discussing the development of Trincomalee port project with Sri Lanka. Any forward movement on that?
Yeah. आगे.
This is Venkatraman from Dinamala. There are more than 136 boats have been seized by the Sri Lankan naval forces, and some of the fishermen still in the custody of the Sri Lankan government. What is the kind of plan of action during the PM visit? Because every time we talk to the counterpart, they said giving assurance, but so far nothing has happened on the releasing of the boat is concerned.
Yeah, Elizabeth and then.
So my question is about the EDCA. The Sri Lankan Prime Minister had expressed confidence that it's going to be signed by, very soon, even at the end of last year. Now you're saying the talks are at an advanced stage. There was also a report which said that we are actually waiting to see what kind of cooperation agreement, economic cooperation agreement Sri Lanka is going to sign with China, before we sign ours. So what is the actual situation and position?
There has been no forward movement on devolution for the Tamils. What is happening there? Because it's just stuck there for the last how many years?
I would like to remind that this briefing is on the forthcoming visit of the Prime Minister, where, as the Joint Secretary said, it is in the context of invitation to the Prime Minister on International Vesak Day. So therefore, I thought I would just remind that.
No, I'll be happy to take these questions with your permission. Well, I'll first like to talk about the fishermen issues. In fact, that's one of the areas of our major concern, and there has been a lot of discussions, but you are right that we still have not reached our goal. But I wanted to tell you the actions which have been taken. You see, we are looking at getting into the root cause of this problem. And our basic intention is to ensure that we find a permanent solution to the fishermen issues. With this in mind, External Affairs Minister had herself taken an initiative, and in November 2016, the foreign ministers and the fisheries ministers of the two countries met on 2nd of November in Delhi. And then it was decided that we will have a joint working group which will look at all issues and go in for and see explore the possibility how a permanent solution can be found. And it was decided that the joint working group would meet every 3 months, every quarter. And it was also decided that there will be a ministerial meeting which will be held every 6 months to review the progress of the joint working group. The first meeting of the joint working group was held in December, on 31st December 2016, and on 2nd, that was in Delhi, and immediately 2 days after, on the 2nd of January 2017, we had a ministerial meeting in Colombo. The second joint working group meeting was held recently in Colombo. That was on 7th of April. What I wanted to mention here is that the problem which the Sri Lankan side has mentioned, and we don't deny, has been the issue of bottom trawling. Bottom trawling by our fishermen, that's a traditional, there's a practice which has been going on. So now our efforts are to win our fishermen from bottom trawling and to assist them in going for deep sea fishing using longliners. So there is a package which the government of India is giving, and also an equal amount will be put in by the government of Tamil Nadu, which will be about 1,500 crores, which is earmarked for this purpose. And once, during this period, we are also simultaneously providing training to our fishermen in deep sea fishing and to help in their capacity building. Apart from this, there are several other initiatives which have been taken, and I would say that this is something which cannot happen overnight. We need to work towards a permanent solution, and that's what we are doing. Now, as you know, that so far as the arrests of our fishermen by the Sri Lankan Navy when they cross the IMBL, we always take this up with the Sri Lankan side, and as of date, there are only 5 fishermen in the custody who were arrested, apprehended only less than a month ago. All others have been released. So far as the boats are concerned, your question is very pertinent. The Sri Lankan side have been telling us that they have difficulty in releasing the boat because they look at it as having a deterrence effect. But we have our contention is that if we are asking our fishermen to go for deep sea fishing and using longliners, we would seek your understanding and release the boat as confidence building measure. We have been assured by the Sri Lankan side that this issue will receive their positive consideration, and we hope that the boats will be released in phases. As for your question whether our Prime Minister will be raising this issue during the visit, I think I made it very clear that the visit, the current visit is in a different context. I mean, it's for the International Vesak Day celebrations. And, excuse me, we do not envisage any formal talks, but of course, he will be interacting with the leaders, and so that will be, they'll review the relationship in its entirety. So nothing is really specifically earmarked for discussion during this current visit. I think there's something else which was, there were a couple of other questions. Well, on the Trincomalee port, whether there has been any forward movement, it's a little premature at this stage to be talking about it. In fact, there is a study which is going on, and the discussions have not yet commenced. So we are waiting for the study which has been entrusted to be completed, and we'll have to see the way forward. So it's a little premature at this stage to be talking about the development of Trinco Port.
Let me take some.
There was also a couple of other references. I should also talk about the ETCA, the Economic and Technology Cooperation Agreement. The negotiations have started. 4 rounds have been complete. when the negotiations started, our stand has been that we will move at a pace that the Sri Lankans are comfortable with. And that is precisely what has happened. We have made headways, and we are hopeful that we'll be able to get to finalize this agreement by the end of this year. As for the question of devolution, this is something which we have been working very closely with the Sri Lankans, and of course UNHRC resolution now, which has given another 2 years to Sri Lanka. We have expressed the hope, we have been supportive of it, and we have expressed the hope to the Sri Lankans that within the next 2 years, whatever commitments have been made towards devolution by the amendment of the Constitution, and also for the other issues which are there concerning the Tamils should reach its logical conclusion. Thank you.
So let me take questions from this side. Ranjit, and yeah, Ranjit. Oh, sorry, Vijay.
Has been answered, but I just want to ask another. Do you have updates on this railway projects and also on the housing one? I want to ask you something else, but
Let's take the other two questions
Okay,
also.
Vichitra, I don't know whether you're aware that initially the Vesak Day organizers had invited some other Buddhist leaders in India. And then they got a second letter, please do not come because the Chinese do not recognize your organization and are not keen that you participate in this.
I'm hearing about this for the first time, but I would really like to know a little more if you could.
I have the letter, I'll show it to you afterwards.
Okay.
Akhilesh?
I just thought that I will add, since this doesn't pertain to Government of India, we are obviously the Government of India, there's no reference, and we do not have any role in the process, but still I'm curious to find a little more about this.
so I'm also asking a question that might be for the first time for you, because we had sent our team in Tamil Nadu for looking into the fishermen's problem recently, last month, and Tamil Nadu fishermen are telling that Sri Lankan Navy is coming on their boats. There are Chinese soldiers sitting in the Navy boats, and with guns. So have you heard any such things that is happening between India and Sri Lanka on international border sea?
I have no information on this, and so far even our own agency inputs have never suggested this, so this is something new.
Well, let me remind that this briefing is on record, first of all, and if you had any doubts. And secondly, the matter, as the Joint Secretary very clearly said, is regularly taken up between the Government of India and the Government of Sri Lanka, and also there is a Fishermen's Forum to discuss this. Joint Working Group has met, so all aspects of the situation are continuously under discussion between the two governments.
But I thought the briefing was on Prime Minister's visit to Sri Lanka.
Last question regarding Sri Lanka. Sridhar?
So, so far India has always looked at its relationship with Sri Lanka through the prism of the Sri Lankan Tamils, at least in the past 3 decades. But the very fact that the PM is visiting Dalida Maligawa in Kandy, and this Buddhist outreach, so is it a sort of a paradigm shift? Are they looking beyond the Tamils and reaching out to the Sinhala majority as well? Is it
First
a very
of all,
conscious move in this direction?
First of all, I wanted to mention that our relationship with Sri Lanka, as I mentioned, is 2,500 years old. And there's much more to it than what you refer to as the only prism that through which we look at Sri Lanka, which is not correct. Secondly, there is no paradigm shift in our Sri Lanka policy. And we look at Sri Lanka as a sovereign country where multi-ethnic, multicultural, and that's what we envision Sri Lanka. And that is the Sri Lankans who have a stable polity with its own multi-ethnic and multicultural court, that is Sri Lanka, and the policy, our Sri Lanka policy, is as overall and over diverse spheres, and not confined to only what you are suggesting.
Thank you very much, Sanjay, especially for taking out time on the eve of a very important visit, which you are at the helms here at our level in this ministry. So thank you very much once again, and we will, friends, with that we conclude this part of the briefing, and the weekly briefing we'll resume in just a couple of minutes once we have said goodbye to our esteemed Joint Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll start the weekly briefing part of this interaction. I would once again thank you for coming on an off day. Otherwise, Buddha Purnima is a holiday for many of us, including us in the ministry. But as you know, we are working. And last week also, because of the Heads of Mission Conference, we did the briefing on Wednesday instead of Thursday. And this week also, as you know, because tomorrow the Prime Minister will be traveling to Sri Lanka. So again, thank you very much for adjusting your schedule to come here today. I have no announcement to make, and I am open for questions.
So I would, would you like to enlighten us about the progress of talks, ongoing talks between RBI and the Central Bank of Nepal and Bhutan vis-a-vis the Indian withdrawn high currency notes? And also, as to what is the amount so far been deposited with the respective Central Bank of Nepal as also of Bhutan?
We have addressed this question earlier on. I can mention to you that there are talks between the Reserve Bank and the central banks of both the countries. They have made progress. And in terms of what exactly can be done, those details are being worked out. So it might at this stage be premature for me to comment more than that. But as soon as we have more specific details and let me say a firm outcome of this, we'll certainly brief you on that. Yeah, Shinjoy.
So the issue about the ICJ, can you just tell us in detail what really has happened and what is the expectation from now on?
Again, I would suspect there would be many questions on this issue. So if you permit, we can club all those questions together. So I will now take questions on the Kulbhushan Jadhav International Court of Justice matter. So all those of you who want to ask that question. 5 over here and here. All right.
सर एक कंसर्न ये भी है कि क्या पाकिस्तान इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस के फैसले को मानेगा, और अगर आप प्लीज़ अगर शेयर कर सके कि प्रीवियस हिस्ट्री क्या रही है जब इंडिया और पाकिस्तान इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट में गए, तब कौन से मैटर थे और उसका क्या अप्रोच रहा था?
Parikshit.
So what have been the initial directions by the International Court of Justice, the president of the ICJ? Is India going to now move for consular access? And the first indication coming from Pakistan is a state of denial. There is an indication that there is no order, there is no stay, there is no direction to the Pakistani Prime Minister.
So what do you want me to say on that? What's the question?
Basically that Pakistan has completely denied it, saying that there is no direction, there is no stay, and how would you react to that? And at the same time, are we now moving for consular access, considering that we are armed with this ICJ order?
Okay. Shidhar.
So is this a move, I mean, is this an indication that we have virtually given up on any expectation of support from, I mean, of understanding of the situation by Pakistan? And this entire issue of internationalizing, was it always on the table? Because what we were given to understand earlier is that there were some jurisdiction issues that, you know, the two countries, it's not binding, etc., etc. So what was the trigger that we decided to go to the ICJ?
कादम्बरी
क्या ये लास्ट डिच एफर्ट है क्योंकि पाकिस्तान की तरफ से कोई भी जानकारी नहीं दी गई है अबाउट द वेल बीइंग ऑफ कुलभूषण जाधव वेदर ही इज ऑल राइट वेयर ही इज लोकेशन एनीथिंग
let me finish this side, then I'll come back.
सर ख्वाजा मोहम्मद आसिफ का भी बयान आया है कि पाकिस्तान जो है दरअसल इंडिया इस मसले को डाइवर्ट करने के लिए, टेररिज्म के मसले को डाइवर्ट करने के लिए आईसीजे के मसले को उछाल रहा है। मेरा सवाल इससे जुड़ा ये भी है कि फर्दर इसकी लीगलिटी क्या होगी, पाकिस्तान अगर इस फैसले को मानता है तब भी और नहीं मानता है तब भी।
पाकिस्तान में एक ट्वीट अभी जो उनके विदेश मंत्रालय के अधिकारी हैं वो चर्चा का विषय बना हुआ है, जिसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ने अपने दायरे से बाहर जाकर काम किया है। तो क्या इस मामले में कोई ऑफिशियल जानकारी है कि क्या कुछ चर्चा में है?
I would request that the question can be asked by the person who has the mic. जो जिसकी लाठी उसकी भैंस।
सर, बहुत सालों बाद, बहुत लंबे समय बाद आईसीजे के पास इंडिया गया है, क्या वजह रही कि हमने ये रास्ता चुना और अब वहाँ प्रक्रिया क्या होगी? क्या 15 तारीख के बाद रोज सुनवाई होगी, डे टू डे हियरिंग होगी?
Sir, in the case of Captain Saurav Kalia, despite pressure, India did not approach the ICJ. How is this case being viewed differently for India to have approached the International Court of Justice?
Anybody else on this side? Yeah, Kalol.
So while talking about the Turkish president's visit, you had mentioned that India would be, engaging Pakistan in bilateral dialogue under the rubric of Lahore and Shimla agreement. So what has really changed? And you yourself talked about Lahore and Shimla last week. So what has really changed in the last 7 days that we are talking about ICJ?
Nidhi, you wanted to ask something?
Is there any concern at all that by taking the matter to the ICJ that it could open up a Pandora's box for Pakistan to go to the ICJ in the future? There are former diplomats like Vivek Kajju who have expressed that concern this morning. Or will it be possible to limit it only to specific issues if required in future?
Gilani sahab.
I understand we had a bilateral mechanism with India and with Pakistan on the committee of judges, joint committee of judges on the both sides. Where exactly this committee now is, and what was the last visit when they had visited the prisoners?
You mean the bilateral committee of the two judges which is concerned with the prisoners? Yeah. No, Jadhav. So I would answer Gilani Saab's questions towards the end. Yeah, one hand I saw there. Yeah.
So just wanted to clarify the yesterday's ICJ order. I mean, it's not. These are not. This is just a stay. This is not the interim measures because India has sought interim measures. Just to clarify, what happened yesterday is not the announcement of the interim measures per se, right? I mean, was what happened yesterday the interim measures, or are we expecting interim measures in the coming days? And this was a stay in, while we're waiting for the interim measures. If you could just clarify that, the technicalities on whether we can call what happened yesterday the interim measures, or are we still waiting for the interim measures and the decision on that? Thank you.
All right. I think there are a number of questions, again about a dozen or so. Basically, they fall in four categories, four categories of 5. What has happened? What is going to happen? Why, if there is a change in India's position, then why? what can be the implications of that change for future? What is Pakistan saying, or what will Pakistan do? What will be its position? And and then there was question of Gilani Sahab, which was linked some way to a consular matter of a humanitarian nature in a general sense. Let me first of all mention to all of you and reiterate, in fact, we have circulated yesterday the press release put out by the International Court of Justice late our night, around midnight our time. And I trust that all of you are quite familiar with it. It's not a very long document, it's a 2-page document or so. And what it does, it gives very clear detail of the legal provisions, international legal provisions which India has used in addressing this matter. It also gives details of the main grounds on which we have sought this particular course of action. And it also gives you a link to the entire request and petition, India's petition, which is now on the website of International Court of Justice. So just in case anybody hasn't had a look at this press release or the entire petition of India, request and the application as the press release mentions it, I would very much suggest and request that please do have a look at both these documents. The press release is shorter, 2 pages, but the petition is a little longer. But if you read them, I think most of these questions that you raised would have been answered. Why India approached International Court of Justice, on what grounds, what legal grounds and situation prevailing in the matter is very clearly mentioned in the press release. I would just recall to you that we had made 16 requests for consular access, which were denied. Despite requesting the government of Pakistan, both in writing and verbally at very senior levels through diplomatic channels, we got no response on the question of getting the documents of the case, charge sheet, etc., court proceedings, etc. We do not know the status of the petition and the appeal filed by the mother of Mr. Jadhav. And of course, the visas applied for by the family so that they could personally go to Pakistan to pursue this matter, which concerns their son, they have not been granted to our knowledge so far. So in this situation where the life of an Indian who was kidnapped and is illegally in detention in Pakistan, and as we have said earlier, was not given a fair trial, and about whose well-being our concerns persist, what we have done is approach the International Court of Justice in these circumstances. This is for a consular matter. The approach to the International Court of Justice, as is very clearly said in the press release of the International Court of Justice, and I will keep coming back to the press release because that's a very comprehensive document, that very clearly mentions. Now, what will happen in future? I think what you could do is, as some of you would have heard, senior lawyer Mr. Harish Salve is representing Government of India in this matter. I would request you, because I'm not a legal expert, so the queries of a legal nature, if you have, I would suggest that you could address to him, because he would know what is the course of action that the court can take. But as far as I understand, he has mentioned in media that the address to the court, as it is called, is likely in the next few days. There are provisions within the International Court Justice rules. There are Article 73 and Article 74, which specifically deal with the situation and how the sitting of a court can be convened in this matter. I would request you also to, if you haven't familiarized yourself, I'm sure many of you have, but in case somebody hasn't, please familiarize yourself with the provisions of Article 73 and 74. The answer to your questions on what will happen in terms of legal proceedings lies there. Now, on why or what Pakistan is saying or not saying or what it will do. What they are saying, it is not for me to comment on what they are saying. And what they will do, it's a hypothetical question. We have the matter now with the International Court of Justice. There is a procedure, there is a legal, juridical procedure that the court will follow. And the International Court of Justice is the highest international body in this realm. So that procedure, I think you will see it unfolding, and Article 73 and 74 will give you enough idea of what that procedure is going to be. Now, some of you asked me about whether it is a stay or it is not a stay. I can only tell you, I am not at a liberty to disclose to you privileged communication, but I can privileged in the sense that it is between the ICJ and the Government of India. But we have been informed of the action that the court has initiated on our application. And so the provisional measure or the relief that we had sought under Article 74, subpara 4, that I think you also noticed External Affairs Minister's tweet yesterday when she tweeted late at night that she had spoken to the mother of Shri Jadhav, and her conversation with the mother of Shri Jadhav was specifically on the provisional measure, the relief that we had sought, the first up, because the life of an Indian citizen is under threat. So that tweet I would again refer you to. So we have been informed by the International Court of Justice of the action that they have already initiated in this regard. Whether somebody in another country is saying something in this regard or not saying something in this regard, it's not for me to comment. Finally, why have we chosen this course of action? I have told you the circumstances, but the implications, when again, it's a conjectural question, frankly speaking. I have mentioned to you very clearly that the circumstances that existed, the life of an Indian citizen is at threat. We have been denied consular access, which is in contravention to the international law, and therefore we have sought this course of action. It is a very carefully considered decision. It is a decision taken by the government in the interest of an Indian citizen, which is in illegal detention and is facing threat to his life. We have said earlier on, I don't want to repeat what we have said about the process that is allegedly or purportedly is supposed to have taken place. We have our views, and you are familiar with those views about that particular process. I don't want to repeat them. So this is a course of action that we have chosen after careful deliberation and careful consideration in the interest of the life, in the interest of saving life and ensuring justice for a son of India. Jurisdiction issue, Sridhar, it is very simple. It is not for me to decide. It is for the International Court of Justice to decide. It is for the International Court of Justice to decide. And when the meeting takes place, they have admitted, as of today, they have admitted India's application. They have initiated action on India's application. And I was again referred to Article 74 and Article 73, which enjoin action on the President of the International Court of Justice, quote unquote, forthwith. So that action has been initiated. Jurisdiction is a matter for any court, like in a national court or a country court. You go, and the first question, if somebody challenges the jurisdiction, the court decides on the matter of jurisdiction. So it's within the competence of the court. It's not within my or your competence to pronounce ourselves on the jurisdiction of the court. Previous occasions, my friend, I don't think this conference can deal with history. And history is, again, not a subject that I specialize in. But as I mentioned to you, there are international provisions, there are international conventions. The press release of the International Court of Justice is extremely clear on, and very lucid, very precise on what our pleas are, what are the grounds, what are the violations of international convention that the government has mentioned in its petition. And if you want further details, then you can obviously look up the petition, which is on the International Court of Justice website. Yeah. Please take the microphone. Please take the microphone. हिंदी में अभी करता हूँ.
What happens, suppose any country, Pakistan or India or anybody, suppose they don't abide by this, what are the implications?
And
are there
suppose
any implications?
they abide by it.
No, that's fine. In case they don't, I just want to know what are the stakes
If
for and against.
If hope was duped, fears may be liars. I didn't say that. A very famous English poet said that. But it's a conjectural issue, frankly speaking. Suppose we enter in the realm of conjecture, which I don't want to enter in right now. Yeah. Kadamni wanted, because I have to sum up for my friends who practice journalism in Hindi medium.
I also practice it in Hindi.
Yes.
मेरा जो सवाल था कि इंडिया ने क्या सारी उम्मीद छोड़ दी है कि पाकिस्तान में किसी रेगुलर कोर्ट में हियरिंग हो सकती है, इसीलिए वहाँ पर गए इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस, और क्या कोई भी जानकारी अभी तक जाधव के बारे में, वेलबीइंग या हेल्थ या लोकेशन के बारे में नहीं है?
आपके दूसरे सवाल का जवाब सबसे पहले कि क्या जाधव साहब के लोकेशन के बारे में, उनकी हेल्थ के बारे में कोई जानकारी है? दुर्भाग्यवश नहीं है, अभी भी नहीं है. और मैंने आपको बताया, आई मेंशन टू यू इन द बिगनिंग दैट द सर्कमस्टांसेस प्रिवेलिंग, एंड आई रिकाउंटेड 4 फैक्टर्स व्हाई वी वेंट टू द इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट, व्हाई द गवर्नमेंट टुक द रिकोर्स टू द इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस टू रिड्रेस this matter. So that I think answers your questions. Yeah, Vijay.
Are we in touch with Iran? Because yeah, I just want to know on that.
I must admit that some of you have sent messages to me asking this question, and I cannot answer this question unless I have a report from our embassy in Iran. I can tell you, I can share with you that I have requested our ambassador in Iran to enlighten us on this particular aspect. But till I don't have an input from our embassy, obviously I won't know. I haven't myself seen the report because we are here since morning. I haven't seen that report. But of course, once we have the details, maybe we will be in a situation to comment on this matter. But you, of course, are familiar with the history of that matter when it broke out in March, and then what all happened in May last year or thereafter. Okay. Yeah, Vinita, on this?
Related, Gopal?
How closely related?
It's with Pakistan.
Then it can wait.
Okay.
On Jadhav, related? Then let me sum up for our colleagues, and then I'll try and sum up. If there are no further on Jadhav or ICJ, yeah.
Just a small detail. When exactly did we move to ICJ?
Well, fantastic. There's the first part in the ICJ press release. And if you permit me, I can read out. The Hague, 9th May 2017, full stop. On 8th May 2017, the Republic of India instituted proceedings against, and so on and so forth. So, you know when we approached International Court of Justice. I don't need to tell you that. Well, yes, I think I referred to it. Salve Saab, I think, has mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, to a channel. Again, because I'm not present on the ground, my information may not be updated. It's a closed holiday for us, but perhaps not in The Hague. So, but what I have heard in the media is that perhaps the court could be convened by the middle of this month or soon thereafter. Because I would again refer to you the provision in the rules of the ICJ, which is Article 73 and 74 for dealing with such situations, and the mention there is of a forthwith convening by the President. मैं कोशिश करता हूँ अब इसको हिंदी में सम अप करने के लिए, लेकिन बहुत सारे सवाल थे तो काफ़ी उसका दायरा फैल गया है. मैं बहुत संक्षेप में कहना चाहूँगा कि इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस की एक प्रेस विज्ञप्ति आई है कल, जो कि आप सब ने जो हमारे मध्यरात्रि के आसपास आई थी, आप लोगों ने उसको देखा होगा. उस प्रेस विज्ञप्ति में इस बात की पूरी जानकारी दी गई है कि भारत की सरकार ने कुलभूषण जाधव मामले में कॉन्सुलर भेंट जो नहीं करने दी गई, उसके संबंध में वियना कन्वेंशन ऑन कॉन्सुलर रिलेशंस का जो उल्लंघन हुआ है पाकिस्तान के द्वारा, उसका संदर्भ लेते हुए किस बिना पर, किस आधार पर इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस में अपनी याचिका 8 मई 2017 को दाखिल करी है. और उसमें इस बात का भी जिक्र है कि भारत ने किस किस प्रकार करकी जो गुजारिश दरखास्त करी है इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस से, उसमें क्या क्या हमने कोर्ट से कहा है कि हमें क्या रिलीफ चाहिए, हमें किस प्रकार के निर्णय की हम अपेक्षा करते हैं। तो हिंदी में कि इंग्लिश में? वेल, मैं फिर प्रेस रिलीज से पढ़ सकता हूँ। दिस आई एम रीडिंग फ्रॉम द प्रेस रिलीज ऑफ द इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस। जो इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस की प्रेस विज्ञप्ति है उसमें कहा गया है कि जो जिस बिना पर भारत ने याचिका दायर करी उसके आधार पर भारत ये, और उन्होंने भी कोट किया है, सीक्स द फॉलोइंग रिलीफ। ये सारे डिटेल जो हैं वो हमारी पिटीशन में है जो वेबसाइट पर उपलब्ध है, लेकिन वो अंग्रेज़ी में है, मैं इसलिए हिंदी में कोशिश करता हूँ कि तत्काल जो ये उनके खिलाफ मृत्युदंड घोषित किया गया है पाकिस्तान में, उसको सस्पेंड किया जाए। और इस दौरान जो सेंटेंस जो दंड दिया था मिलिट्री कोर्ट ने, जो कि वियना कन्वेंशन के विपरीत है, सरासर विपरीत है, और ऑल्सो वो मानवाधारों के जो मूलभूत मानवाधार हैं उनके भी विपरीत है। तो उसके संदर्भ में भी हमको रिलीफ दिया जाए। पाकिस्तान पर रोक लगाई जाए कि वो कोई भी इस तरीके का काम ना करे जिससे कि कोई भी इस जो मृत्युदंड दिया गया है मिलिट्री कोर्ट द्वारा उसको प्रभाव में लाया जा सके, उसका क्रियान्वयन किया जा सके। और अगर पाकिस्तान ये फैसले को पलटने में कामयाब नहीं होता या नहीं करता है, तब फिर कोर्ट जो है वो उसके इस फैसले को, जो मृत्युदंड का फैसला है, उसको गैर कानूनी घोषित करे। और जो हमने उनसे कदम जिसकी गुजारिश करी है वो ये है कि जब तक कि अंतिम निर्णय नहीं आता तब तक कोर्ट इस बात की तरफ निर्देश दे कि पाकिस्तान की सरकार वो सारे कदम उठाए जिससे कि ये सुनिश्चित किया जा सके कि श्री कुलभूषण जाधव के ऊपर जो मृत्युदंड है उसको क्रियान्वयन न किया जा सके। और पाकिस्तान सरकार कोर्ट को भी बताए कि उसने इस संबंध में क्या कार्रवाई करी है। और फिर ये भी कहा हमने आर्टिकल 74 सब पैराग्राफ 4 के संदर्भ में कि कोई इस प्रकार का कदम ना उठाया जाए जिससे कि कोर्ट भविष्य में अगर कोई निर्णय देता है तो उसके क्रियान्वयन में कोई विपरीत प्रभाव पड़ सके, या ऐसा कदम ना उठाया जाए जिससे कि कोर्ट के निर्देश को समुचित प्रकार से प्रभावित या क्रियान्वित ना किया जा सके। तो ये चीज़ें सारी की सारी अंग्रेज़ी भाषा में ऑब्वियसली इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस की प्रेस रिलीज़ में इनका जिक्र किया गया है, और उसी से जो इंग्लिश है उससे मैंने कोशिश करी कि आपको हिंदी में उसका रूपांतरण प्रस्तुत कर सकूं। नाउ इफ़ वी कैन मूव टू अदर एस्पेक्ट्स, आई सी 3 hands already. One had been raised here, so Vinita, and then we go back row by row to Suhasini. Yeah.
Gopal, we have been reading that India has stopped medical visas for Pakistani nationals. Is this correct?
मेडिकल वीज़ाज़ फॉर पाकिस्तानी नेशनल्स, नहीं, ये बिल्कुल निराधार है। इट्स नॉट करेक्ट दैट वी हैव स्टॉप्ड मेडिकल वीज़ाज़ फॉर पाकिस्तानी नेशनल्स। इन फैक्ट व्हाट वी हैव टोल्ड द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान इज़, वेल, लेट मी स्टेप बैक अ लिटिल एंड टेल यू व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग in the previous, up to, as you are familiar, thousands of medical visas had been issued in previous years to Pakistani citizens to come to India and benefit from the health facilities here, like in past year, etc. Now, what has happened is that the External Affairs Minister herself was receiving these requests from Pakistani nationals addressed to her. You are aware that the minister is very active on social media and addresses the problems of Indian nationals abroad, which get stuck in distressed situations. But she was receiving these requests on emails and social media, and frankly, in order to ascertain कि ये genuine request हैं, जो हमने सजेस्ट किया है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान को वो खाली ये किया है कि उनके विदेश मंत्री या जो उनके फॉरेन अफेयर्स एडवाइज़र हैं सरताज अजीज़ साहब, उनकी तरफ से अगर रिकमेंडेशन लेटर आ जाए कि ये मरीज़ है और इसका इलाज इंडिया में कराना चाहते हैं, तो अगर वो रिकमेंडेशन लेटर दे दें, बिकॉज जैसा मैंने आपसे कहा कि अगर सोशल मीडिया पे कुछ आ रहा है तो हम उसके लिए उस संदर्भ में फैसला करना में ये दिक्कत आती है कि कैसे पता करें, हाउ डू वी असर्टेन व्हाट टाइप ऑफ रिक्वेस्ट इट इज़। तो उसलिए क्योंकि उनके देश का नागरिक है वो लिख रहा है, तो अगर उनकी सरकार से विदेश मंत्री साहब, उनके जो फॉरेन पॉलिसी एडवाइज़र हैं, इफ़ ही कैन राइट टू आवर एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर recommending that such person has this condition and he needs a treatment in India, we will immediately issue the visa. We will immediately issue the visa without delay. But we need a recommendation from the government of Pakistan in the manner that I mentioned to you.
A clarification, Gopal. A clarification, now that Mr. Jadhav's family has approached Pakistan for visa, have we also written to the Pakistani government, from the Ministry of External Affairs side that please they should be granted visa?
No, are you asking this question in the context of Jadhav or in the context of medical visa? Because we have asked their minister.
Since you said that
Okay.
you need a letter of recommendation from Sartaj Aziz, have you also sent a letter of recommendation to the Pakistani government for Jadhav's family to reach Pakistan?
Well, I can tell you that yes, indeed we have. External Affairs Minister has written to Sartaj Aziz Saab on 27th April. इनका सवाल था विनीता का कि हम उनसे तो कह रहे हैं कि मेडिकल वीज़ा के लिए आप हमको एक चिट्ठी लिखें जिसमें कि जिक्र हो तो हम तुरंत दे देंगे वीज़ा, लेकिन क्या जाधव की फैमिली ने जो वीज़ा अप्लाई किया है, परिवार ने, उसके लिए हमने कोई चिट्ठी लिखी है क्या? तो उसके जवाब में मैंने कहा कि हाँ, विदेश मंत्री साहिबा ने सरताज अजीज़ साहब को चिट्ठी लिखी है 27 अप्रैल को। That's what I'm saying. Just wait here. Let me finish on this side. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Venkatraman. So my question pertaining to Malaysian foreign students, those who are admitted in Karnataka universities during 2016. Now the Dental Council of India have ordered them to discharge. What is the fate of these students? Number one. Number two, during the Prime Minister of Malaysia visited India recently, this issue was taken up with our Prime Minister. Now, can you just elaborate what is the fate of this student?
I'm afraid, Venkat, this I will have to come back to you because I don't have details in this regard, but I can assure you I will contact our division which deals with Malaysia, the Southern Division. I'll get the details and I'll come back to you. Yeah, I understood. Malaysian government is scholarship in Karnataka. How many students are there, would you know? All right. So on both aspects, whatever I can share, I will be very happy to.
Mr. Wagley, it's been 10 days since the Canadian Premier Justin Trudeau attended a Khalsa Day celebration in Toronto, which not only contained photographs of Bhindranwale and other people considered terrorists by India, but also felicitated two legislators who had authored the genocide resolution in the Ontario Assembly. Given that the Raksha Mantri had specifically spoken to their defense minister on the case of the genocide resolution, and given that Mr. Trudeau is expected to visit India sometime later this year or early January, according to their own High Commissioner, is this an issue that India has taken up with Canada, or is it an issue India intends to take up with Canada, or is it something we're just going to ignore?
I think that out of A, B, C that you mentioned, if I may say so, Suhasini, A is correct. We have taken up such issues in the past with the government of Canada through diplomatic channels. And what I can mention to you, without having to go into details of this particular instance, that practice has not been discontinued. I finished the right honorables. Now I come to the left honorables.
सर उज़्मा के बारे में क्या अपडेट है जो कि इंडिया में पाकिस्तान हाई कमीशन में मौजूद थी?
अखिलेश, आप उज़्मा पे पूछना चाहते हैं? वैसे आप लोग एक एक सवाल से ज़्यादा पूछ चुके हैं, तो अच्छा ठीक है। उज़्मा के बारे में जैसा हमने बताया है, शी इज़ एन इंडियन नेशनल, she had sought shelter in the Indian High Commission. We have mentioned to you. उनका जो स्टेटमेंट है वो परसों मंडे को, I think Uzma's statement was recorded in front of a judicial magistrate first class in Pakistan as per their internal legal requirements. We are in touch with the Foreign Ministry of Pakistan. Yesterday also we were in touch with the Foreign Ministry of Pakistan, and today as well. So we'll continue to pursue this matter with the government of Pakistan for her safe return. As you all know, she is staying, because of her distressed situation, she is staying in the High Commission of her own will, of her own accord. She has said as much, both to the judicial magistrate and to the media also. And the High Commission is happy to assist an Indian national, particularly a woman in distress. She is safe, I can mention to you. And we are in regular touch with our High Commission also on this. She's feeling secure. We are in touch with her family, and we are in continuous contact with the family at this side as well. So the matter is now in the hands of the government of India and the government of Pakistan. We are in touch to address the matter of her safe return at the earliest. उज़्मा के बारे में जो जैसा हमने पहले कहा था कि सोमवार को यानी परसों उन्होंने पाकिस्तान में एक न्यायिक मजिस्ट्रेट के सामने अपना बयान दिया था। उसके बाद उन्होंने मीडिया को भी कहा था कि किन हालात में उन्होंने भारतीय उच्चायोग में आकर के सहारा लिया, शेल्टर लिया, आसरा लिया, और उस आसरे की वजह क्या थी उन्होंने ख़ुद अपने शब्दों में मीडिया को भी बताया, और उन्होंने अपने शब्दों में पाकिस्तान की जो न्यायपालिका है उसमें भी उन्होंने बताया। अब उसके बाद कुछ कानूनी और प्रशासनिक तौर की जो कार्रवाइयाँ हैं उनके आगमन के लिए वापस भारत, उनके पुनरागमन के लिए वापस आने के लिए उनको पूरा किया जाना ज़रूरी है, और उसके लिए हमने पाकिस्तान सरकार का सहयोग मांगा है। उनके विदेश मंत्रालय के ज़रिए वो सकुशल हैं, वो भारतीय दूतावास में हैं और वो प्रसन्नचित्त हैं जितना वो इस परिस्थिति में हो सकती हैं। हम उनके परिवार से संपर्क में हैं और उधर हमारा उच्चायोग पाकिस्तान सरकार से संपर्क में है, और हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान सरकार के सहयोग से जल्दी उनकी सुरक्षित वापसी को, भारत वापसी को सुनिश्चित किया जा सके। ओके उज़्मा, नहीं आप look, she has raised her hand earlier, so I will answer Uzma's question again. That's not a problem.
Mr. Bagle, you said that every medical visa applicant must have a letter from Mr. Sartaj Aziz to the External Affairs Minister, and in that case, the visa will be issued immediately. I presume not every Pakistani national who wants to come to India for treatment would be in a position to access Mr. Sartaj Aziz. Would India make an exception in such cases? Thank you.
I have mentioned to you what the current government position is in this regard. The External Affairs Minister has, our own External Affairs Minister has been very active on social media addressing the situation of the Indian diaspora. But I don't intend to make any comparison, obviously. What I'm trying to say is that the communication from us to the government of Pakistan is that there will be no delay once the suggested recommendatory letter is received by our High Commission. The visa will be, or in Delhi, whichever way, once it is received, it will be issued without delay. I won't like to go into who all within Pakistan can approach their own minister. That's not for me to comment.
Mr. Bagle, Nimish, उज़्मा के मामले में ताहिर के खिलाफ यदि कोई कार्रवाई होती है, कोई केस दर्ज होता है पाकिस्तानी अदालत में, तो क्या हिंदुस्तान सरकार उसको लेकर कुछ करेगी?
कुछ मतलब?
क्या हम उसमें एक पक्ष बनेंगे? Whether we gonna be a party on that case, or we write to Pakistan government to take action against Tahir because it's a matter of a.
देखिए ऐसा है इस मामले में अभी जो हमारा फोकस है वो इस बात पर है कि उज़्मा को सुरक्षित कितनी जल्दी से जल्दी भारत वापस लाया जा सके। तो ये इस पर भारत सरकार का पूरा फोकस है, भारतीय उच्चायोग का फोकस है। वी आर कंसर्न्ड विद हर अर्लीस्ट सेफ रिटर्न राइट नाउ एंड आई वोंट लाइक टू कंजेक्चर अबाउट व्हाट विल हैपन इन फ्यूचर, वेदर देयर विल बी अ केस। आई डोंट इवन नो वेदर देयर विल बी अ केस इन पाकिस्तान और वेदर इट विल बी और इट विल नॉट बी। सो हाउ कैन आई कमेंट ऑन व्हाट विल वी डू इफ देयर इज अ केस? दैट्स अ लिटिल अनफेयर फॉर मी टू कमेंट. Then I think the last question for today is Ranjit, you would like to ask? Oh my God.
Hello.
All right. So Akhilesh, then over here, our friend, and then we go back to Ranjit and Liz. I think that should suffice for today.
Yeah. Sir, this is the question on China-Pakistan economic corridor. The ambassador of China recently said that if India wants, we can rename China-Pakistan economic corridor as China-Pakistan-India economic corridor. So has any communication been made to External Affairs Ministry from Pakistani side in this regard? And if they propose like this, what will be our response? Or
From
what
Pakistani side or from Chinese side?
From Chinese side, sorry.
No. No such communication has been made. But
who would be representing India in One Belt, One Road, the program in China?
that decision is not taken. The matter is under consideration. No, I was only saying that what the ambassador said, it is unfair for me to comment on what he said, especially after the subsequent developments.
Yeah, this is also related to the Chinese ambassador to India, because he mentioned that he proposed the 4-point initiative to improve India-China relation.
Beg your pardon, could you repeat that?
The 4 points, the first one is start negotiation of China-India Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation. Second is restart negotiation of FTA. Third is early harvest on border issue. And the fourth one is explore feasibility of aligning OBOR and Act East policy. But this is a proposal from the Chinese side. Maybe some of the points India think it's workable. Some of the points India think it's not necessary or it's not so practical. So can you tell us respectively on these 4 points how India see this proposal? Thank you.
I would only say that like our colleague here, Akhilesh, asked about this particular question, this particular aspect of the Chinese ambassador's speech the other day. I'm not aware whether, in his case, the case of his question, I'm aware that no such proposal has been received. But in the case of this, I would only say that that both countries, India and China, are engaged in addressing all relevant matters bilaterally at appropriate fora. So whatever is received by the government of India through official channels is given due consideration and then discussed between the two sides as per the mechanisms, that have been established for this purpose. I will have to come back to you because other people had raised their hands before that. Answer. Thank you, Liz. Ranjit? Oh, excellent. Kallol, you are a lucky man today.
I just want to know that you said you are considering participating in the OBOR conference, right? If I heard you
I'm
right.
saying that the matter is under consideration and the decision has not been taken.
So the matter of participation of India is under consideration. Is that what you're saying?
What is under consideration is the Chinese invitation that had been received, which I had said earlier, and no decision in that regard has been taken. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, friends, for coming today, and we hope to see you next week. Have a good day.